Hi everybody, so I've already prepared my DayZ update 1.19 boosted loot for Chernarus for PlayStation, Xbox and PC files. They're ready to go now. Now just remember that DayZ 1.19 doesn't go live until the 18th of October 2022, so don't use the files before then on your public server. You can use them on a experimental local server or an experimental community server in the cloud for PC, but they won't work if you try and put them on your Xbox or PlayStation server now, as I'm recording this video on the 11th of the 10th. If it's after the 18th of the 10th, then you are good to go. So if you're familiar with these files and you've used them before, then just head on over to my GitHub. I'll put a link in the description below the video. You can hit code, you can hit download zip, and you can download them, read the README, and then crack on. For people who aren't so familiar with them, what I'm going to do is run through a headline of what you get with these files, and then we're going to go into a little bit of how you install them as well. So the headlines basically are that more weapons spawn in, a few more weapons spawn in, and when weapons spawn in, they'll spawn in with magazines like you can see here, and if they're meant to have a silencer, they'll probably spawn in with a silencer, and they'll spawn in pristine. Magazines, when you find them, should spawn in virtually full of bullets, and they should also spawn in pristine, and in fact most items in the world should spawn in pristine, so you get lots of use out of them. All over the map there are complete cars like you'll see here, with all the bits on them, and in the boot in the back, depending on the car, there's different stuff. So there's like a fishing one, there's a hunting one, there's a building one, and all you need to do is put the fuel into the car, then go and find some water using the fuel can, fill up the radiator, and then you're good to go driving it around. Trucks as well, there's loads of these spawn around the map that are full. They're basically ready to go. You just need to take the diesel out of the back and load it up, and then you're good to go, because they don't need water, do they, the M3Ss. And in the back of the normal trucks there's lots of building things. I should also add that the new Humvee spawns in complete as well, with stuff in the back, so that's cool. At Novi Sabor, I'm going to say, outside the shop, is it Novi or Starry? Might be Novi. There's this truck here. Now this truck, I call it the trader truck. This is a one-off, so only one of these spawns in. And in the back there's lots of things like weapons and plate carriers and night vision goggles. So that's kind of a one-off truck. Now the idea is that if you wanted to on your server, you can, someone could have that and then be the trader going around, or you could disable the event, whatever you want to do, but that's there. And then at the top of the ski run there's this blue truck. Now this is the party truck, because in the back of here there's like fireworks, there's witches' noses, there's Santa hats, there's vodka, there's lots of fun stuff for doing an event. So that's kind of the headline of this. Now remember, this is just for Chernarus, not for Livonia. Now if you want to use these files, as I say, just go to my GitHub and then you want to hit the code button and hit the download, and in the README there is all the instructions. And basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be you could do a reinstall on your server if you wanted to, but you're probably going to do reset the mission XMLs to default, and then you're going to load these on top of it, and then you're going to restart your server. So next what we'll do, let's go through the README, and I can go through it in a little bit more detail about the sort of stuff that happens. So to install these files, simply reset your XMLs to default, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Then upload these over the top of your existing files and restart your server. So we talked about the trader truck in Novi Sabor, and we talked about the event truck as well. So in the CFG gameplay.json file, I've added the map function as well. In fact, I did have that up. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. So if you press if you're on PC, you press M and it will bring up the map. We're not sure what it is on console yet, but it will be something. And you bring up the map, and the map will show you exactly where you are, and it will give you your coordinates and your grid position without having to have found the tourist map, the GPS receiver, or the compass. It will just work. Okay, because that's a setting in the CFG gameplay.json. Also in the CFG gameplay.json, there is the build anywhere settings as well. So you'll be able to build anywhere. Now, you may or may not want that on your server. If you do want to use the map and you do want to have build anywhere, make sure your CFG gameplay.json is enabled in your server settings, so if you go into your server, this is a Nitrado console server. If you go into general settings, and then down the bottom, you'll have enabled CFG game. Make sure that's enabled. Or if you're on a PC server, it will be in your server dz.config file, and there'll be a line that says enable gameplay.json. If that's not enabled, they won't work. Lots of items spawn in pristine. Now, I've added the paper access card as well, even though this is Chernarus and it spawns in toxic zones. You can't use it for anything with these files, but if you then add, you know, a bunker that uses the bunker doors from Livonia, then the access card is there. Witches Night events spawn in, so you'll find bonfires around. We talked about the trucks, we talked about the Humvees, talked about the trade truck, event truck, cars complete with gas. And then if you read this thing goes into a little bit more detail about what's in each particular type of vehicle, because you've got rusty vehicles and normal vehicles, and they've got different stuff in them, you know, different guns and things like that. Increase the number of heli crash sites. Dynamic loot event weapons increase, so there's more FALs, VSSs, etc. And also what I did was I took away non-weapons from the heli crashes, so things like the ghillie suits and the ghillie wraps shouldn't be on the heli crashes anymore, to give more space for the fun stuff. More duct tape, more sharpening stones, more sterilizing agents, more NBC stuff, more gas masks, more gas pens, more axes, coloured axes, more knives, more of the police rifle to scouts, more FAMAS, more AUG. We talked about magazines, more suppressors, the coloured variants of the assault rifles, so like the black M4 and the camo Mosans as well spawn in. There's slightly more ammo, there's slightly more food, slightly more drink, but not much more, but there's a little bit more. More wire. The collapsible barriers spawn in. Don't know if they work or not though, but put them in. More little stones spawn in, so you can make a knife quicker. More large military bags, more vests, more tents. More night vision, more night vault batteries, more medical supplies, and some surprises as well. So you should find around things like the sword, the pumpkin helmets, weed, alcohol, the cigarettes, the motor oil. Some of these things don't do anything anymore. Like the motor oil and the defibrillator. I think I put in the cattle prod as well, and the Easter egg, although they don't work either. Now you might have to be careful. Some of these things might cause the server to crash, and if they do, we'll have to take them out. And then an 8-hour server restart with a simple countdown. So that's the messages.xml. Okay, so let's go into a little bit more detail about how you would install them. So to start off with, talking about Nitrado console, so PlayStation and Xbox. What you're going to do is you're going to tell everybody on your server that you're going to be doing it. And you may want to do a reinstall, so that blanks everything. But if you don't want to do a reinstall, what you want to do is you want to go down here to reset mission XML to default. But this is when 1.1.8 goes live, okay? So when DayZ have said, look, 1.1.8 has gone live after the 18th of October. You tick that, you save that, and you restart your server. And that'll put all of your files to vanilla 1.19 files. Okay, so all of your registered files will be gone. So if you want to keep anything, make sure you copy it back. Once you've done reset mission XML to default, untick it and save the changes. Then all you need to do is then just go to your file browser, go into your missions folder, and you just need to find where being your mission for Chernarus Plus. Just upload the existing files over the top. Sorry, the new files over the existing files. So you just go and so basically, if we go to where were we? If we go here, so CFG event spawns, gameplay, and spawnable types, they all go in. They all go in the kind of the first directory inside your mission file. Then if you go into the DB directory, this is where your events, globals, and types go, which are the remaining ones, aren't they? And messages as well. We said that, didn't we? Events, globals, messages, and types. They all go in there. And once you've uploaded them, all you need to do is, if I press the right button, is restart the server, and that is it. That is how easy it is to install these files. And then the changes will take effect. You may find you're left with some stuff that isn't pristine, that might have spawned in while the server restarted, but don't worry about that. It will all sort itself out, and that's how easy it is, and that's why I produce these files, to make them incredibly easy to install. Now, if you're on PC, it's a little bit more complicated, because there is no reset XMLs to default value on a Nitrado server, and I don't think there is on other servers as well. You need to get hold of the 1.19 files yourself. The best way to do that, if you're on PC, is go into your Steam library and find DayZ, and find, at the moment it's DayZ Experimental, and then DayZ Experimental Server, and install that. And if you install DayZ Experimental, in its folder it will include the new mission files for 1.19. Well, all of the files, all of the XMLs, all of the JSONs, all that sort of stuff. So you can then use that as a basis to replace all of the files on your server. However, if you're probably running your PC server, you probably kind of know what you're doing. You probably don't need me to tell you that sort of thing. So there we go. So kind of as a final warning, again, just remember, don't use these files before the 18th of October, unless you're running them on a local experimental server or remote experimental server. If you're on consoles, these will not work if you put them on your server now. We need to wait until 1.19 goes live, and then you can put them on your server, and you'll have a nice boosted loot Chernarus. Now, a question maybe I'll probably get asked is, will I produce a boosted loot Livonia file? I have no plans to do so at the moment. It takes me quite a lot of time to do these repositories, so I'm not going to do a Livonia one. I will probably be doing my survival one, which is for Chernarus, where we do half food, half drink, half zombies. I'll probably do that one, and I will do an updated trader config file for Dr. Jones as well, that includes the new items. But there we go. Hopefully you found this video useful, and hopefully find the repository useful. If you have, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.